Moving on now, the spate of insecurity is a big challenge for Nigerians and the country as a whole. The prevailing situation in the southeast, where residents cannot go about their lawful businesses for fear of being killed or maimed by unknown assailants amid the sit-at-home order by the proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, has become worse. Despite several attempts to tackle this issue by the federal government, it keeps on resurfacing. And the big question is, how exactly can this be tackled? So joining me to discuss this burning issue is IT and security expert Darlington Ugochukwu. Good morning and welcome to the program. We also have Ugochi Naji and security consultant Dixon Osaje. Good morning to you both, gentlemen. Welcome to TVC Breakfast this morning. And another security consultant, Dixon, another analyst is with us at this time, the executive director, Young Igbo Empowerment Foundation, Bright Ezeocha. Thanks for joining in. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let me begin with you, Bright Ezeocha. What are your thoughts on the resurfacing insecurity in the southeast? What do you think could be the motive behind them?
Honestly speaking, I must be honest with you. At this point in time, whatever the motive may be is irrelevant at this point in time. Because we indeed are not knowing by this barbaric act that is being carried out in the southeast, where we have a lot of grievances, we have a lot of pains to express, but by the ways that these things is being carried out today, it's not supported by anybody. It's gotten to a height that is becoming alarming. Indeed, you don't know about beheading anybody. It is not in our character. I don't know where they imported all these things from. But having said that, the Indians will have a lot of grounds to be angry with the state. You see, in the past, I have been shouting always about this negative peace that is pervading the entire southeast. But people seem not to agree with, not to understand what I was shouting at that time. When you have a situation where people that call themselves non-violent organizations try to protest, and the military and the Nigerian armed forces invaded them and killed them at will, especially in the one that happened at Impo. We call on federal government to institute a inquiry to find out those who are behind this, or rather to mete out the punishment that is due to them. But nothing was done. When some people went to Abia State, in Aba, we are praying in a closed door. They were also invaded and were killed. We called for inquiry to find out those who carried out that heinous act. Nobody listened to us. When it happened in Enugu, the same thing. At that point, I know that this violence is leading us somewhere. I knew that, because at that point in time, what we have, even up to this moment, what we have is a negative peace. According to Johan Gatton, who expresses the reasons for all this kind of crisis that emanate from different societies. When you have a country where people are not allowed to develop at their pace, you will have things like this. When you have a nation where politically people are marginalized and traumatized, we have social like this. We have a country where there's a lot of underdevelopment, where people are not allowed, where the government are not doing anything to eliminate their suffering, and they're not allowing the people to help themselves. You see, people will resort to self-help. But this is not the way to go about it. Certainly, this is not the way to go about it.
All right, Mr. Ezeocha, I'll get back to you, but let me also hear from the gentlemen in the studio. Beginning with you, Mr. Naji. So what do you make of this earlier analysis by Bright Ezeocha? What for you could be the motive for this, if indeed it is IPOB, even though they have denied having a hand in the spate of killings and other violence? What else could be the motive?
Okay, so let's go this route. What has been happening in Southeast has been as a result of, one, negligence, two, lack of commitment from government to the youth, and it has resulted to you taking action. So
you said negligence on the part of who?
Government
now?
to the youths and to the people. So I am not here to talk about this whole thing, but I think we're here to talk about solution, because people have said a whole lot about this whole thing. So one of the things we have provided before now is there has never been an interface between the government and the grassroots. Because when you talk about crime, crime doesn't start from the urban, it starts at the rural. And when you talk about unknown gunmen, there's nothing like unknown gunmen. People know these people, all right? They have families, they have homes, they have sisters, they came from somewhere. People know them, people see them, but the problem has been, is there any platform that allows people to diffuse and divulge or disseminate information to relevant authorities? No. And before now, people are scared, because you hear things like, when you see something, say something. The question I ask is, when you see something, who do you say it to? Nobody. Because in the issue of security, your identity has to be kept sacrosanct. It must be kept secret for you, because these guys, as it stands now, they don't want to say anything that have to do with uniform men. Do you understand? So the question is, how far, what are we doing to settle this? Because what I find common in this nation is we like cosmetic approach than preventive approach. So when this happens, you see policemen everywhere, put roadblocks. After some days or weeks, it goes off. These people comes back. So we want to propose to state governments, more especially in Imo State and Anambra State, let's train youth on how to use phone to divulge information. So we call it social surveillance service. So in Europe, you see surveillance cameras everywhere, monitoring the activities of the day. But that cannot happen in Nigeria because of the poor social infrastructure. That's no network.
So technology is the way to
yes.
grow. All right. So that said, Dixon Osaje, what are your views on this issue? First, how would you even dissect the problem before we even talk about solutions? And not forgetting that the governor, the new governor, if we can still use the word new, the Governor Soludo of Anambra State, you know, has offered amnesty, which he has even now revoked as a result of the spate of killings. Well,
for me, I think the governor is trying to, you know, be diplomatic in his approach to the spate of insecurity, but I would advise him to study the root cause analysis, because the first speaker talked about the causative factors, which is very important. If you don't know the root cause analysis of your problem, you cannot profile mitigation factors. And he rightly said that the military and the police were shooting at innocent protesters in the early days of this IPOB insurrection, and that led to grievances and most people coming back to retaliate against the military and the police. So first of all, when you identify the root cause analysis, like you rightly said, we need to also set a board of inquiry to look into the reason why these guys are perpetrating a state crime. After doing that, then we'll start looking at how we
are you convinced that are you convinced, despite the denial by IPOB, that they may have been behind, or they may be behind all this?
They are not behind. That's what they're trying to say. IPOB are trying to, you know, take a departure from all these occurrences.
So who could these unknown persons be?
You know, sometimes when it comes to security, you cannot, you know, position where the problem really coming from, because you have to put fifth columnists into action as well, because just what called deception. Perhaps someone is trying to, you know, destabilize the Southeast so that they will be able to, you know, put some credit on IPOB or ESN, whatever the case may be. But that is why sometimes it's not good to always resort to negotiation and amnesty when it comes to security unrest, because each time you grant amnesty to criminal elements, you are certifying crime. Each time you call criminals for dialogue, you are certifying crime. Like that, you rightly say, we need to start looking at technological approach. We need to start looking at tactical approach, that's the military approach, operational approach. Then we need to start looking at political approach in all of these menace, because political wise, I think there are political, undertone in this aspect of insecurity in the Southeast. I don't know the reason why, But they must remember that human lives are dying every day. Because if you want to push for an objective and you think beheading of your fellow human being is the way forward, then you are not good at what you are requesting for. I don't think the government should, put hope on them.
Back to you, Mr. Ezeocha. So when we look at, what can be done, Mr. Osagie here talked about the ESN, which is even bringing me to my next, issue for discussion. The ESN, how would you rate it? Some have said the governors, as members of the southeastern region, haven't taken a singular ownership of the scheme. Rather, it is an independent approach, which may not be a solution, a sustainable one at that. What do you think?
That's one of the problems we're having in the Southeast. The inability of those that call themselves our leaders to take responsibility for certain things that need to be done in the Southeast. For instance, we see how the states collaborated with Omoteko security outfits to bring up peace in the Southwest, to be able to weed away all those terrorizing their forests in the Southwest. But what do we have in the Southeast? We have Southeast governors who they kind of try to detach themselves from the needs of the people. The people are shouting of insecurity that their forests are being dominated by strange fellows that they don't know where they came from. The whole community is being overrun by unknown men, people from outside the Southeast, and people were shouting, people were looking for help. The governors were not able to provide them the help. Instead, they gave them the bag that, honestly speaking, you cannot give people, you cannot on your own give to the entire Igbo nation what you think is right for them. There needs to be a collaborative effort between the people and the government. Or else, if you allow the non-state actor to take control, to take charge of their security, this is what the result you are going to get at the end of the day. Having said that, I feel strongly that there's need for the states to dialogue. There's need for the state to commission of inquiry to find out all those who are perpetrating a lot of killings in the Southeast. Let me tell you one thing. Today, unknown gunmen we invade the community, we invade a particular area, they carried out their operation and they disappear. 1 hour or 2 hours after, the Nigerian army and the security air forces, we invade those communities and shoot sporadically. They kill innocent people. Those that are being killed have families. These are the way you arm these unknown gunmen and give them a large number of people to be recruited. Because by the time you kill my brother or my sister, invariably, if I cannot be able to do you anything, I will look for a way that I can be able to give you a scratch. And that is the result of what we are seeing today. When you invade a community and shoot sporadically and kill innocent people, indirectly you are pushing the people, their relatives, to join this militant group in order to face the state. And let me be honest with you. The onus in the table of the state. It's on the state to decide how they want to go about it. But first of all, the governors must come down from the high heaven they have found themselves and begin to collaborate with the people. They must find a way to inculcate the ESN into the Southeast Security Network, so that inculcating them will be able to arrive at those who are these unknown gunmen. Maybe IPOB have said several times that they are not responsible. I think it's high time the government should listen to them. And find out if there is a need to collaborate with the IPOB to arrive at those who are behind these unknown gunmen.
All right, Mr. Ezeocha, let me put you on hold once again so we can, explore more ground and manage time also. Mr. Naji, so looking at this problem at hand now, what are your thoughts still on this issue of the ESN and why it has failed to solve the puzzle going on in the Southeast? What are your own thoughts? Okay,
like he rightly said, the governors in Southeast, they seize themselves to be them God, second God. And the Abuja approach will not solve anything. According to Abuja, meeting Mr. President, they can't solve anything. The best way to this is let's come together. There are fundamental questions that we need to ask. How did we get here? For instance, if you know the issue of Imo State over as a capital, it's a place that is meant for merriment. But it's quite unfortunate that Owerri is a place, it's nowhere to go today.
Right now.
So the question is, how do we get here? What do we need to do? You understand? Do we need, and sometimes everything is not by force. A time comes in life when if you need to say sorry, say sorry. We make mistakes, all right? But the problem I see here is lack of miscommunication. You understand? People know what is happening. People know people that does this. These people are not faceless, like I said before. They have faces, they have homes. Why don't we find a way, a common ground? You understand? So whenever anything happens, we'll go for the perpetrators and feed them, mop them up, take them out. Because like he actually said, whenever things happen and I can't get the result that I want, sometimes you see people, youths, resorting to revenge. You understand? So if I can't get what I want, let me add more salt or more fire to this whole thing. So the best approach is let's come back holistically, sit down and ask ourselves what is the problem with this, because gradually we are getting there. It will come to a point that Northeast, Nigeria, the Southeast will be worse than that. Look at what happened in Anambra the other day. It's uncalled for. It hasn't got into this. You understand? We still have that humanity in us. Let's come back. Let the governors come back. I proposed to them. I told them one time, let's train guys. In every state in Southeast, let's train 5,000 youths. Deploy them in every village. Not even every village. Let them be given breakdown every 3 hours. What is happening within their
like
locality.
A vigilante?
Not like a surveillance.
All right.
So because if you check the history of Nigeria today, Nigeria is under police. So we don't even have enough police. So let's create a supplement that can help government. So when you see something, you say something. So when you say something, it gets to the top. The appropriate authority comes in. You understand? But because whenever a crime happens or whenever these guys come out to strike, when the security men, when they invade a village, you see them picking even the innocent ones. So when this happens, even people that know what is happening, they tend to lock up. They will tell you, since you have arrested me for something that I know nothing about, what's the sense of turning you? You understand?
All right, okay. So let me also hear from Mr. Osagie. The puzzle also deepens when we look at the approach of Governor Soludo. He has, upon his inauguration, he opened his arms, so to speak, to everyone, saying he would run more like an open door system. And some have said, okay, you have also talked about Imo State, but Anambra State stands in a particularly peculiar situation. And what for you could be the reason why, other parts of the southeastern region, enjoy a significant level of peace as against the situation in Anambra?
Yeah, when you look at Anambra State, for example, it's a business hub center. And going by the ethnography of Anambra, it's a state of about 6 million people sitting on about 5,000 square kilometers, the landmarks of Anambra State.
Is it bigger than Enugu, which is even the home state of IPOB leader?
Yeah. So now, looking at the suggestion of the state governor, right. He came up and said, well, I'm giving you guys an open hands. But sometimes, most of these criminals, we must not take the fact that some criminals are taking the opportunity of the vulnerability of our security agents. My duality says we are under police. Oh, yes, I agree. Because when you look at the security structure of Nigeria, you discover that a country of about 200 million people are being policed, military-wise, police-wise, and other security agent-wise. We're not up to 1 million. And like the earlier introduction about the immigration cry out for security. Imagine the porosity of our national borders causing more security threat to our country. Coming back to Anambra State, for me, I think the way forward is still dialogue. Dialogue is still the way forward. Because
but everyone is saying dialogue. Is there really much of a bargaining chip? I know I ask this question often, but are you also on all fours that no side is right? Absolutely.
Yeah, dialogue now with the criminals. You don't dialogue with criminals. If you want to dialogue with criminals, first of all, go to all our prison center and release all the criminals. You don't dialogue with criminals. Identify these criminals and take them out. Are you with me? Then look at what led to this incident. How did we arrive at this state? you need to start looking at the reason why. Is it because the youth are unemployed? Because one of the reasons why crime has been flourishing in Nigeria is because most of our youth are jobless. Some of them go to school, come out of school, they don't have anything to do, and this opportunity, criminal opportunity comes, they get into it and start raising an insurrection against the state. So we need to be very holistic, have an holistic plan in order for us to mitigate this speed. Now these guys wrote a letter after beheading the lawmaker, and they said more head will roll, that they are taking a little departure from the military and police. They want to concentrate on our lawmakers. And when you check very well, you discover that our leaders have failed us. That's the truth. Our leaders have failed us. And that is why we have arrived at this stage.
All right. We'll talk more about the possible solutions now, but back to you, Mr. Ezeocha. So some have also said, still on the Anambra peculiarity, now that perhaps, all right, so Mr. Osaji was talking about, that note, some have said is even there to instill fear in the minds of others, warning or threatening to kill more lawmakers. But for Governor Soludo, the way he stands, the persona he emits now to everyone, some have said all this violence in his state is designated to frustrate him.
First of all, let me inform you that anytime you have a situation of injustice, because injustice breeds violence, accumulated injustice breeds greater violence. Soludo just came in as a governor. I was expecting that they would give him a chance to see how he can collaborate with, if he can be able to convince his fellow governors to seek for solution to the problem, protracted pro-injustice in the Southeast. But they did not do that because perhaps they are running out of patience. But we appeal to the unknown gunmen to, for whatever reasons they are carrying out this heinous act in the Southeast, to please give peace a chance. They should at least find a way to, since Soludo have come out with open hands to discuss with their leader, presumably their leader, Nnamdi Kanu. And Nnamdi Kanu have also called for peace in the Southeast. I would expect that they will give him a chance. And they also come out with a position to Soludo to discuss and dialogue with his other fellow governors to see how we can bring peace in the Southeast. But having said that, we also realize that in Anambra, you have major markets and you have major concentration of young Southeasterners in Anambra State. It's not that Anambra is bigger in size or geographically bigger than other states, but because of the major markets that are in Anambra, you have concentration of Anambra and Abia, precisely. You have concentration of young Igbos in those areas. And the tendency that when people are angry, when the people want to express themselves, it can only be done through the youth. And I think that's more reason why this is escalating, is being pronounced higher in the Anambra State. And again, in that of the Imo State, I think it was the posture of the governor, the Hope Uzodinma-led administration, that came in with that high-handedness and did not want to, and kill the commandant of the ESN that led to the Imo crisis and saga. But having said that, I feel that strongly that at this point in time, the people of Southeast have demanded for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. In two different occasions, they have visited the president, and they have also agreed to go into written agreement or understanding that they should hand over Nnamdi Kanu to them. They are going to caution him. They are going to discuss with him. They are going to put it together and find solution to these problems lingering in the Southeast. But what we have, in two different occasions, the president have reported their plea and call it on the.
So you feel Nnamdi Kanu should also be released?
Yes, there should be a political solution. Political solution. That's what I'm asking for.
Okay. Let me compare your position with. Let me compare your position with that of the gentleman here in the studio, Mr. Ezeocha. So on the final note, Naji, do you think, as we explore political solution and other means to resolve the crisis, Nnamdi Kanu should also be released, or he should be made to slug it out to the end in court?
Well, there's anybody that said that whenever a baby cries and is punching his finger at a particular direction, either his father is there or the mother is there. So now the question is this: shouldn't Nnamdi Kanu be released? I think he should. And if government thinks that this is the only way out, let's give him a chance, release him. Then we will now find, after, if Nnamdi Kanu is being released today and this continues, we will now ask what is still happening. But going forward, I think this whole thing has been hijacked, all right? Because I remember when we did NSAS in Lagos, initially wasn't, the aim of NSAS was to talk about, yes, but unfortunately it was hijacked. The IPOB thing was to talk about, they wanted to vent out their aggression on issues that borders on nepotism and other things. But it's so unfortunate that some hoodlums in Southeast has taken. Are you telling me that it was the IPOB that beheaded the young man the other day in Anambra State? It's not IPOB. Okay,
Mr. Naji. Finally, but I may not be able to accommodate, more than 20 seconds or thereabout.
Well, for me,
on the Nnamdi Kanu problem.
Yes, for me, I think he should be released because he was kidnapped. We have classes of kidnapping.
But the crimes, alleged crimes,
the alleged
on
crime,
him.
well, he needs to face the law. That is my own position. Keeping Nnamdi Kanu will not resolve any issue. But before he's kidnapped by the state government, what is the security situation in the Southeast? He actually played a role in the state of insecurity in the Southeast. But let's not look at that. Let's look at, discussing with him and other stakeholders so that the state of the Southeast will stay in a positive peace situation.
Gentlemen, Bright Ezeocha, Ugochukwu, Talented Energy, and of course Dixon Osaje, many thanks for your insights on TVC Breakfast this morning.